Okay, this is Super Slueths Episode 1, Part 1. Welcome to a tactics review. It's a collaboration between Happy Little Heroclix and Heroclix Borderlands. I'm one of your hosts, Shay McClure from Heroclix Borderlands, and I have with me...
Devon Adams of the Happy Little Heroclix Channel. Hi, guys.
Hey, and our vision is to create a review of tactics being used in metagames that are currently available to watch online. We want to offer our insight and deeper understanding of these tactics being used in these matches. As a new venture, we hope to hear from you in the comments on what you like, your questions, and suggestions. That being said, let's get to our first tactical review. We're going to take on a match that Devon played not long ago in a Super Qualifier online. It is his Prime Dreadpool team where he takes on a Surtur and Unimind team. So he has been gracious enough to open up his play style and be kind of torn apart, looked at, twisted around, and just shown how it is a strategist would work in HeroClix, and even kind of go over some mistakes maybe. So are you ready to go, Devon?
I am all set.
Okay. Let's go over your team. What is your team? To kind of lay it out for us.
Well, I guess it's a 300 modern event, and to spice things up this time, I had viewers of my channel vote on the main figure that would be added to my force, and that happened to be Dreadpool this time. So Dreadpool, 130 points, decent attacker, starting running shot. It seems to be like a ranged attacker and then a close attacker every other click up until he's KO'd. So it was interesting picking that they picked him. I had never really played a Dreadpool before, so him getting chosen there was pretty interesting. Has a trait where at the start of each game you choose a named keyword your opponent figures has, and at the end of your turn he can make a free close or ranged attack against figures with that named keyword. So that was him. I had the rare chameleon I threw in there because I hadn't played him a whole lot yet, and with all the new low point X-Men figures, I figure I can make him interesting. For his disguises for him, I had Darwin, the Chase Iceman at 60 points, and the super rare Dust. And then outside of that, I just had things that I've played before using similar tactics in modern. I had the Moira McTaggart, who's as the headmaster trait with leadership and perplex for X-Men. I had a Kite Man so I could carry some people around. I had for Colossal Retaliators a Carnage, a Floral Colossal, and then a Teleporter with I think I was using all six. I had the Wonder Woman card, Jean Grey, Colossus, Cyclops, Wolverine, and all new Wolverine so that she could make that Jonathan Pog. And then on top of that, for equipment, I had the mirror of I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I don't think anyone can.
It is the unknown mirror.
Yeah.
It's the mirror that we all dread.
The shape change mirror. So that's what I had. Things, of course, did not. If you've watched the games, you know they did not go as planned, but it happens. But it was interesting building this stuff. Having other people decide what I'm playing was an interesting decision to go on.
Well, okay, so looking at that team, I really like that team, actually. Prime Deadpool, I did play against him in Origins last time I was there in a grinder. It's kind of surprised how deep his dial is,
Yeah.
how hard he is to kill, the kind of powers he's got. His point value is too interesting. What is it, 135?
130.
130. So he has a lot of call-in options he can do. He's also an X-Men, or is he not?
He is not, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, that'd been nice, because then Mora would have been able to do a couple other things with him.
I would have had a little bit more perplex, but it happens.
Yeah, it kind of goes that way. I mean, you have Chameleon. I think Chameleon's the hidden rare star. His ability to change between three identities gives you a lot of silver bullets. And
Yeah.
and once you go over those three silver bullets, I'd like to get a little bit more in depth on how you're going to use those three actual choices to really make your team go up against certain meta combinations you saw out there.
Well, what's interesting, what I like about Chameleon, because I think it's a designed figure by one of the world champions or national champions or whatever, and it kind of fit the idea of having a sideboard of having just options you can change into, because the main gripe with the chameleon, or no, with Darwin, is that if you're just putting Darwin on your main force and your opponent doesn't have any kind of figure where he picks powers, Darwin kind of just doesn't do anything. So with chameleon, you have then two other options to switch into should you want to do other tactics instead. So the reviewed game that we're watching for this series is my second game of the day, but in the first game, my opponent was not playing pick a power figures, so I changed into Iceman, who could then make those Ice Clone bystander tokens at the end of the turn, which was pretty interesting. And then I was thinking if I was going to come up against Shredders, I might go with the Dust figure, because her Smoke Cloud is a free action, and then opposing figures that end their turn adjacent to her Smoke Cloud markers take 1 damage. So she was kind of there for some crowd control. Maybe if I was up against a bunch of other Swarm or bystander figures, she might come in. I think it was an interesting combination. I don't know. I might switch it up now that I've played it once. Basically, everything I did here outside of like the Colossal Retaliators and all the support figures, both Chameleon and Dreadpool were new to me. So that was a learning experience.
Well, I mean, and that's part of being able to go out there and test these out and go try these out. And I kind of like the idea that you allowed your listeners to push your boundaries and really force you to go out there and try something new, which, you learned something, I assume, right, Devon?
Yes, it's that Surtur is a good figure, and you can die to him really easily. Yeah. But outside of that, there's other tactics to learn of like knowing your dial and getting familiar with unfamiliar stuff is always good.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Now that we've kind of looked at your team and your kind of thought process, and I assume the mirror is there to keep Chameleon alive as long as possible.
That or Dreadpool.
Dreadpool,
because
okay.
Of course, if Chameleon equips the mirror, and he switches to another figure, they replace each other, and the mirror doesn't carry over anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So Dreadpool, trying to keep that figure, your 135 point, your main beast that's going to call in, the guy who's going to really drive your team. So to keep him alive, using the mirror there. Now that we understand your team, let's go over the team you're coming up against. You have a Unimind player that also has a Carnage and has a Surtur on his team. He also has a Green Lantern, the super rare from Joker's Wild.
Yep.
And I believe his last guy was Surge. And he also put, what object did he have?
He had, I think the crowbar?
Yeah, crowbar or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're sitting across from this, and all good HeroClix players don't always just focus on their team. They're going to look across the board and go, hey, what am I facing? I have to come up with a plan. I have to come up with a strategy. So looking across the board, what was your immediate threat assessment? What did you think about his team? What were you worried about? What did you think were the weak points that you could go out and go get?
Well, so figures on the map, looking over the team. The first thing I thought of was Chameleon cannot switch to Darwin right away because of the Surtur. How the interaction works there is Colossal Retaliation works off of your friendly figures taking any damage from opposing figures. So if I switched to Darwin while Surtur or Carnage was alive, Unimind could pick a power, take a damage, and then on the same turn, he could send his Colossal Retaliator over to attack my Chameleon Darwin disguise. The problem is Surtur ignores all defense values, so he can one-shot Darwin to kill him in a single turn. So I needed to kill Surtur right away, which was what my mindset for almost the entire game was. And then also, what's unique to the Dreadpool situation is he has to choose a named keyword to attack, make the free attacks for, and I chose Eternals this time. Hindsight's 2020, maybe. Well, we're gonna go over the game. We'll see how I did, but I might have wanted to choose whatever keywords Surtur has just to get him off the board. But I went with the Eternals so that Dreadpool could attack Unimind, and that was kind of my game plan from the start. That's all I had right away was knowing I'd have to wait to disguise until after I've dealt with his Colossal Retaliators. I was also considering leaving Chameleon out there without any disguise at all and just keeping him adjacent to Unimind. He also has a power where opposing figures within 3 squares can't use shape change or be replaced. So if Chameleon was next to Unimind when Unimind would die, Unimind, of course, when he dies, he replaces himself with the other Eternals that he can equip with Forged in Blue Flame. If Chameleon's adjacent to him, he can't do that, and he would just die regularly. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind too. But my immediate game plan was deal with Surtur. Get Surtur gone out of here somehow. That was about it.
Wow, so that's awesome. I never knew that. And that's another little wrinkle. I love how that is a new way to attack a Unimind, and nothing drives a Unimind player crazy than those little sideways tactics that could just come up and sneak up on them. So I kind of like that. That's an awesome way to kind of approach that. So we've got this threat assessment down. You have your plan of attack. So let's go to our first clip, which will be your first round. I think it's clipped. Start on 55. Do you have that queued up, Devon?
I do. I can have it play while we talk about it.
Okay, so we're going to start playing from this 55 to, I believe it's minute 237. This is the first turn of Devon.
Yep.
So as we're sitting here watching it, let me see. Pull up my screen a little bit. Oh, that's cool. So your first move is going to be to move out and make sure somebody gets the mirror. So how do you kind of handle that? I mean, I think people need to learn this. Some rules of the game here.
So the mirror provides shape change, and it is a light object. So standard, or just any character that has the standard carry or object carry ability can pick up and hold that object. Now to pick up and drop an object, of course, you can only do once per move. So you ideally need a character to move up, grab the object, and then while holding that object, sidestep, because sidestep is free but also counts as an additional move. So after doing a power action to move to pick it up, you sidestep to drop it adjacent to another friendly character who can equip. So what I did on my first turn was have McTaggart move up, grab the mirror, move back with the same move action far enough so that she could sidestep 2 more to drop it next to Dreadpool, who could equip the object. And then
here's the other thing. I think as soon as it hits mark 237, we'll kind of stop because that'll be your first turn. What I love about this is these guys were always going to be carried up to create positioning. And Mora McTaggart's not going to do much other than provide some help for you on your call-ins, give you another figure. So she is kind of there, and her ability to be useful in the first turn is pretty awesome. And she got Dreadpool, that mirror, and I believe that with equipment, you need to get it on board in 1 turn if you can.
Ideally.
Was that your thought process too?
Yes, you definitely don't want to give your opponent the chance to remove that from the game and give you no benefit whatsoever, because not only do you lose that equipment, your opponent scores the points for it as well.
Okay, so you moved up. You sidestepped up Flora, or you moved Flora up?
I physically moved Floral into the water, and then also sidestepped my Carnage up, just for Carnage to go in front of Chameleon, because I didn't know how far. I underestimated the reach of Unimind on his second turn, but I wanted to protect my Chameleon. And then I wanted to get Floral into water so he had the chance to heal for 2 instead of just 1.
Yeah, and you did. You got him in there. I thought he healed this turn. Did he not?
No. I rolled a 1 for that healing.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunate because that puts Flora in a different league because he gets his stop click back.
Yep.
And it's just harder to kill. So, but you talk about your positioning here. You moved Kite Man up. Why do you want to position in this area right here?
So Kite Man is kind of kept at the top there in order to cut. I was thinking maybe I can bait him into just killing Kite Man right away, and then I could retaliate with my Colossal Retaliators. I put Dreadpool, of course, behind the blocking. I don't want Dreadpool attacked right away, even with the Shape Change Mirror. I just don't want the off chance for him to take a lot of damage. And then Moira is behind him, so that if Dreadpool needs to call in an ID card character, all of mine except Wonder Woman are X-Men figures. She could then perplex my call-ins should I need to. That's my positioning
That's
for
cool.
turn one
So,
anyway.
which is good. Which is good. It gives a little bit more usefulness for Mora. And then you've got your two retaliators. You seem to be in good position here. I mean, it looks like you've cut down the map. I like how you've moved up and you've reestablished your position so that Unimind's just not sitting back. You also don't want, let me clarify this, you don't want to engage Unimind where he wants to engage. And can you kind of talk to us, where does Unimind want to be when he's engaging you?
Um, I suppose inside the boxing arena, or running, attacking from outside and then being carried back into the boxing arena was my original thought. Outside of leaving my Kite Man open, I actually thought I was safe except for Kite Man, and that turned out to not be the case if we go into my opponent's first turn.
Okay, yeah, and if we look at his turn, if you want to just go let it play, and we'll play to our next one where we'll talk about yours. I mean, he pretty much does a running shot with Unimind, and he increased his range
Yep.
so that he could get to your Carnage and Flora and double target him, didn't he?
He did, which was unfortunate for me, but he did have the
Yes.
reach to get to both of them on turn two. I think had I not moved one square forward, he would not have the range to make that attack. But that's what happens. I have it playing right now where Unimind's sitting at the bottom of that boxing arena. I lose my Colossals, and then to make up for the tactic of being outside of the ring, he moves his Green Lantern into the boxing ring and leaves then a square of blocking using Green Lantern's free barrier to be put in front of Unimind to keep Unimind safe, outside of maybe getting shot on the next turn. And that's really just his first turn is taking out the Colossals. He sidesteps up his Carnage, and I'm kind of a little heartbroken having lost both my Carnage and Floral in one attack, but that's on me.
Well, and how do you deal with that? I mean, what's going through your mind right there? Because that's a big moment. Because now Unimind's up. You lost your two retaliators. You're kind of ticked at yourself because you take it on yourself because
Yeah.
shouldn't have happened. It did. How you trying to recover right now?
Um. Well, I know I'm can't like after the shock of realizing the range Unimind can shoot at and being envious. I miss the days when Tentpole Figs didn't do that. I guess it kind of harkens back to the day of that Icons Superman, where hypersonic speed before your range got adjusted, where you could shoot like 10 squares. But Unimind there shot me from like I think like a 12 or 13 or some nonsense.
Yeah, he has like 9, so you got 12. Was that right? Yeah.
Yeah. So once that passes away, I realize if I call someone in, I can maybe position myself to get some attacks first. My first call in, if we start playing my turn two, is
yeah, which will
if you wanted to start
yeah
there.
your first call in which will be I think coming up on 7. Are we at 7 minutes right now?
I'm on 6. I can jump straight to 7 though. I think we're just finishing. I spend a little time thinking. Of course, the shock from losing those guys. So I end up calling in all new Wolverine, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I might not be able to charge the whole way, but if I can just move all new Wolverine up far enough, I can then call in the Jonathan bystander, and that bystander can attack figures. But then I realize The change to carry allows you to reposition to kind of work within this 5 square um, maximum distance for ID characters. Because when you carry a character now with the 2017 rules, your carried character no longer leaves the map. They kind of just go from point A to point B without leaving the map at any given time. So I, with Dreadpool, call in all new Wolverine. I then have Kite Man move both Moira McTaggart and Dreadpool up, so that I could get a charge in with my all new Wolverine by perplexing her movement 3 times. Once from herself, once from Moira McTaggart, and once from Dreadpool to give her. I think I gave her like a 7 move charge. And I'm like, okay, well now
Yeah, you did.
I can get into the boxing ring adjacent to Unimind. The attack difference will come into play because he's outside of the ring and I'm inside of the ring. So I'm going to get the -2, but I'm in the ring making a close attack, so I get a +1. So I'm only at a -1 attack. I end up hitting the Unimind, and the whole time, like, I realize I didn't want Jonathan to make that attack, so I call Jonathan in after that and try to make an attack on the Green Lantern, and I missed my 7. And I think by that time, that was 3 actions. No, it was 4 actions altogether because I had the leadership with Moira. And I think that was
Okay.
all I could do. I realized because I think Unimind was still like a 17, so I could have tried to go for Unimind a second time too. But I was thinking I didn't want Jonathan to risk that attack because he'd be at a -1 for his attack there. So I was thinking maybe if I can get a
Okay.
good Blades roll, I can kill this Green Lantern and get some points that way and get rid of this barrier. But that didn't come to fruition on this second turn.
Yeah. And so you charged up. You got Jonathan, who's an indestructible Pog, and we kind of go through some map issues here. I
Yeah.
don't know what. So you're just trying to work on how to get all new Wolverine to the front. So you did a great job on your first attack. You actually hit for 4 right on Unimind,
Yeah.
which was pretty good. So I thought that's good. That's 2. He takes 2. Unimind's now damaged. You got all new Wolverine, and great job on placement because where all new Wolverine is and where Jonathan gets dropped, you're only leaving Unimind 2 spots to call in people. Which I think is huge when you're dealing with a piece whose main job is not going to be to attack, but to call in some other pieces. So, were you pleased at that moment and how that had all played out? I mean, I know Jonathan missed his attack on Green Lantern. That's a little unfortunate, but you did roll a 4 on Blades, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
I was pleased with the attack on Unimind. Sad I missed with Jonathan on Green Lantern, but there was nothing I could do there. But outside of that, I mean, it's a decent turn having lost my retaliators. I'm kind of stuck having to play aggressive now to just be able to do anything. I'm not looking forward to my next turn where suddenly colossal retaliators can start attacking me, but that's the play I'm in, having lost a good chunk of my team already.
yeah, I can believe that. Um, so I think at this moment, when you're looking at it, you've done a good one. It's a couple of things has happened though. You've been forced to change the tempo of your team, I believe, haven't you?
Yes. Whereas before, I might have sat back and had Dreadpool maybe move up and do some free attacks. Now I'm kind of forced to just aggressively go after him, at least in my mind. I
Yeah.
don't proclaim myself to be the best professional player ever, but that's what's going through my head. And neither game I was really ever able to utilize the free attacks because, of course, this second turn of mine where his Unimind attacked me, and then my turn, my all new Wolverine attacks him. the free attack from Dreadpool happens at the end of the turn, and my call-in ID card and Jonathan are in the way for me to be able to attack Unimind. So that didn't happen right away either.
Yeah. And so you don't mind if I point something out right now, do you?
No, go ahead.
So, I mean, are you looking at it right now? Was that your optimal call in at that moment? You think?
I wanted to get that out of the way because the game prior, I had been rolling my teleporter, trying to get unique powers onto Dreadpool right away, and I kept rolling a number 1, which was my ID call-in for All New Wolverine. And being a student ID card, there is no inspiration on those cards, so I was getting no benefit. My playstyle, I usually like getting my bystander generators out right away because I wanted that Jonathan on the map. So in my head,
Okay.
I thought that might have been good. I realized I probably could have gone with Wolverine because he'd be on the opposite side of the map to Flurry.
Ooh, Flurry, and he would get a free attack anyway on Unimind,
Yeah,
wouldn't he?
but he would. No, because Unimind did not attack X-Men.
That's
So
true. That's true. Sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, my thought process is also get this all new Wolverine out there because if she's attacked on the following turn, which she was, I can get some free attacks in with either the Wolverine or Cyclops.
Okay. Yeah. Get a what I call these, and you can pause the video right now
Oh
so we
sure.
don't go past where we want to go next. But yeah, you could get in what I call they act as colossal retaliators on their own too.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. A little positioning, you have a colossal retaliator. A
Yep.
small one, but Cyclops very good about that. Able to get a free attack in if they attack somebody that's the next man, and then to then attack on his own. So yeah, I like that thought process there.
Yeah.
Looking at it, I think you're in great position. Uh, the one thing I'll point out, now you can counteract me. The ideal the ideal play for you would have been for somehow be able to have Wolverine, all new Wolverine, charge that far, attack, and then you be able to sidestep away and pull her outside of the 5
Oh
so that she
yeah.
could poof and go away. Is that right?
Um. Yeah, I suppose so. I wouldn't get the free attacks um, if she was off the map because unless my Moira, I keep saying the mines. That's like a tick.
Oh
um,
yeah.
she's actually the only. I think she's the only other X-Men unless Chameleon makes a disguise. So, um, yeah. I mean, she doesn't have sidestep herself, so it'd have to be something along the lines of positioning this Dreadpool in a way that he could move after she attacks. I did, in order to get her over to Unimind, I couldn't just leave Dreadpool, though, where he was behind that blocking terrain on the left, because I would be farther than 5 squares away and she'd disappear before even
Yeah, that's
attacking.
true.
Um,
Yeah, you had to
but
move. You had to be aggressive. I mean, you just
yeah,
had to do what you
like
had
if I
to
could
do.
get, maybe if I had Supreme Intelligence instead of a teleporter on Dreadpool, and he could then sidestep early on
Eh,
for that.
I don't
But
know. You had to be aggressive. You made a good play. And we'll find out you survive the next shot, which is really all you're trying to get to, because that gives you your opening to then create something that's going to give Unimind some problems.
yeah,
So you're still in good position. I mean, you might look like, oh, but that prime Dreadpool is so hard to kill. I mean, he's beyond hard to kill. Got the mirror on him, so he's even doubly hard to kill. So
you would think.
sometimes you got to risk a little.
Yeah, just a
You got
bit.
to lay it out there. Yeah, you have to lay it out there. You have to force the tempo. I will say this now. Just keep pause for a second because I think you have some big, huge gains you've done here. Number one, you have taken the boxing ring sort of out of his play. Unimind's outside the boxing ring.
Yeah,
He's kind of outside of it. It's going to start happening. Everything's going to start happening outside the boxing ring. So you've got to win there. You're going to draw out one of his colossal retaliators, which then gives you an opportunity to bring Chameleon into play. So, you're looking thumbs up. You just got to have a few rolls go your way like we all do. and you're looking at a match that you could win. That would be going through my head. Was it going through yours?
Um, not at that appointment yet. I was still a little on tilt from my prior match where I lost almost immediately. I can't lie there. That's still going on in my head here. I'm just thinking, what's my optimal move to maybe survive long enough to. I still need to kill that Surtur. That's still my number one target. But I realize I can't get that. I can't attack that Surtur while it's in its starting area. So I realize it's gonna attack me on this next turn, and then that would be my chance. So that's, I think, we're
Okay,
coming up.
and I think that's awesome. Now we have gone, and we've done this. We've kind of gone through this. I love where you're going with this team. Everything seems to be going okay. I don't have, I mean, some great tactics here, some great thoughts. You you're trying to push the momentum, trying to push the tempo. You are dealing with going on tilt a little bit, but you're kind of dealing with it okay. You're staying aggressive. So we've divided this into two parts. One part's going on my channel, and then the other part will go on Happy Little Heroclix. So we're going to stop at this moment. We have this good feeling, this good understanding of how this game's going. We're going to see how the second part of the game goes on the Happy Little Heroclix channel. And if you're wanting to watch that one, please, there's a link below in the description that will link you to the part 2 of this competitive match. And we would love to hear from you about how you would like to see this kind of develop, how you think if you like this type of content. As we are just trying it out, we're going to try and improve it and keep going, but we love to give some commentary on top of some of these great matches.
Yes,
do you have anything to add, Devon?
A lot of that. Just let us know. It is definitely our trial run here, so if there's improvements to be made, it is viewer suggested, unless it's trial by error for us.
Oh, it is. And I love that Devon was all on board, man. When I said, hey, we should try this. And Devon was like, oh, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. I think it'd be awesome. It's great new content. Gives you a lot of insight in the way it goes. So for right now, and then we're going to, I say, click on over to Devon's channel, Happy Little Heroclix, and let's watch part 2 of this Super Slueths Tactics review.
All right.
I'll see y'all over there.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in part 2.